The Dayton Dragons begin their season today with enough storylines to fill a space cruiser. All right, all Star Wars puns aside, this team's going to be really fun. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, and I wanted to do a little bit of something different. We are going to do a Dayton Dragons report, maybe a monthly basis, something like that, but every so often, basically. Just keeping you up to date on what goes on with the Dayton Dragons, the High A affiliate of your Cincinnati Reds, and the roster to begin the season is a lot of fun for this Dragons team. There's going to be so many different things for you to check out up in Dayton. Of course, Locked On Reds is always part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, and we want to be also your organization. We're going to look at the organization as a whole for the Reds every day. That's why we wanted to bring to you this first edition of the Dragons Report. And in this first edition, we will talk to three of the Reds' top prospects in Rhett Lowder, Cam Collier, and Sal Stewart. We'll also talk to first baseman Ruben Ibarra and outfielder Jay Allen. We'll also get a look behind the scenes with manager Vince Harrison and an informative look at how pitchers' workloads are managed with pitching coach Brian Garman. But we'll start with the Reds' number 2 prospect.
All right, Rhett, you're going to be making your professional debut here in Dayton tomorrow night. Tell me a little bit about the emotions surrounding that.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's been a while since I got out there in a real game, so I know I got out here a little bit to watch and kind of see the crowd last year, but I'm excited to actually be able to pitch in front of them.
120 innings at Wake Forest last year. I would have to imagine that the goal this year is to try and stretch that out a little bit this season. Do you know the specifics yet of your program? I know that Derek Johnson at the Major League level kind of sets the tone for the entire organization. What do you know about your plan moving into 2024?
You know, not too much. I know obviously I had a lot of innings last year and obviously hoping to build on that and stay healthy. And I think if I stay healthy, I'll be able to add on to some of those. But, you know, I don't know really. I don't want to look too far in the future and kind of know what that looks like. I kind of just take it one game at a time. But I think as long as I stay healthy, I'll be able to add on to that.
Right, obviously, the goals of the pitcher is to get the guy at the plate out, help the team win. But, you know, personally, entering the realm of a professional pitcher, do you have any personal goals that you've set for yourself, benchmarks you're trying to hit, things that you're trying to work on?
Yeah, you know, I'm not setting too many goals as far as like destination or a stat or anything that I want to do. It's kind of just want to remain consistent in like how I show up every single day in every game. I think that's the main thing, and I think that's what pays off at the next level. Whoever's the guy that can take the ball and be the most consistent day in and day out. So I think that's my main goal. I don't know exactly what it would look like on paper, but that's kind of like what I'm striving for.
Now, you were at a big-time college program. You're coming into professional baseball now. Can you contrast the differences of what it's been like to prepare for a start tomorrow, making a professional debut, a professional start, versus what it was like getting ready for a start at Wake?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously haven't done it yet, but I'm going to try to. I mean, it's the same game. It's baseball, and I'm trying to keep it like I've done it the same way for so many years now, so I'm trying not to make it anything it's not or put it on a pedestal or anything. But, you know, it's definitely cool. You got to devote all your time to this game, and you don't have too many distractions if you can handle it. So I'm excited, but you know, I'm not trying to make it up bigger than it is.
All right, last question. Do you anticipate any issues with the pace of play, the pitch clock, college versus the professional level?
No, I don't really anticipate that being a problem. I mean, I've always worked pretty fast, and so I think it actually benefits guys that work fast. It kind of puts them in. They don't see a big difference. I haven't noticed a really big difference up until this point. So I think it's definitely going to be challenging at some points, but I think it can play into your advantage too.
All right, we are here in Dragons Media Day with Cam Collier. And Cam, as you're coming into Dayton this year, what's kind of like your main goal for the season?
Main goal is to just keep improving, keep getting better, and just get better every year.
What would you say about your game do you take the most pride in?
I definitely take the most pride in my hitting, and really my hitting and my defense, because like I feel like that's the things I need the most best in. So just trying to perfect those two things are the things I mainly focus on.
When you step into the batter's box, what goes through your mind?
Try to hit the ball as hard as I can back up the middle, honestly. So, yeah.
I like that. As you've moved through the different levels of the Reds, and as you've moved through your career, like coming up to this point, what's kind of been like the biggest lesson that you've learned?
you can't dwell on the past. You just got to look forward to the future, because if you dwell too much into the past, you're just going to mess up your future. So that's the thing I try to think about every day, and just try to get over the past and just keep looking for the next day.
That's true. All right, we are here with Sal Stewart here on Dragons Media Day, and Sal, as the season's getting going, I know that you kind of been moving through the system here these last few years. What are you looking for the most here in Dayton?
I'm just looking to continue to perfect my game. I mean, obviously, like when you're in the minor leagues, I'm trying to do whatever it takes to make it to the big leagues, but I'm trying to just get better every day. I mean, not focus on what I can control. Yeah, I mean, some people will say I should be here or there, and I just focus on who I am as a player and continue to get better, so when I make it to the big leagues, I can help the team.
What part of your game do you take the most pride in?
I would say my defense, because a lot of people always have something to say about my defense, but I'm someone that shows the numbers. I'm not about talk, I'm not about rankings, I'm not about what people say. It's what I do on the field, and I've shown I can play defense at an elite level, and I want to continue to do so.
As you've moved through like the system and all your different levels of baseball, what's been like the biggest lesson that you've learned so far?
That it's a long season, that no matter a one bad week doesn't change the whole trajectory of your season. The same way on the flip side. I mean, just because you get off to a hot start doesn't mean that that's how the season's going to end. So just continue to stay mellow, continue to stay in a straight line, and focus on every day.
All right, Jay, just a couple quick questions. We hear Tom tell that story about you providing the energy change, and that's not the first time I've heard that story. He was on our show late last season and told that same story. How does it make you feel to hear that you were kind of attributed as being the guy that changed the energy, and really what I equate that to is being a leader coming into the ball club?
Yeah, just being in high school and playing 3 sports, it's kind of been a nature of myself to kind of try to be a leader, or like try to implement myself as that person. So being a leadoff hitter, just trying to get the team going. I knew that Dayton was kind of struggling. We were trying to make a late push to make playoffs. So that's the kind of role I thought I would provide.
Now, I know last year was a year you wouldn't consider to be a success. You struggled with a lot of injuries. You're looking for, what they termed during the pressure there as a rebound year, kind of to build yourself back. What are your personal goals? I know obviously you want to move up through the organization, have success. What specific areas are you looking to work on as you head into 2024?
Honestly, I really didn't make that many goals this year. The number one was just try to stay on the field, be as healthy as possible, and be available, because the best ability is availability. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to stay healthy, trying to stay loose, and just let the year play out how I can be on the field.
So for those fans that haven't seen you yet, how would you describe your game? Tell me who Jay is on the baseball field.
I'm always smiling. I love being out here. I love being with the guys. I like to play the game fast, hard. I'll run out the ball to the pitcher just to try to make a defensive mistake, but really just fast, hard, and mindful, being a baseball player.
Looking at the big league club, there's a lot of focus and emphasis on speed and stealing bases. Is that something that you plan to emulate here at the lower levels as you're working your way up?
Always. We have a great base running coach, Kevin Mahar, back in Arizona. He's like the outfield coordinator and base running coordinator, so he does a great job with letting us be free on the bases, letting me be free on the bases. So that's a big part of my game.
We are here at Dragons Media Day with Ruben Ibarra. And Ruben, as we're coming into this season, I know that Tom kind of gave us the deets. You got 8 homers away. Like, what are you thinking coming into this year? Just being like, we're going to hit 8 on opening day, get it over with? Or?
Nah. It doesn't matter if I get the 8 or not. It matters how many games we win in between that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As you've kind of moved through the system, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned, like in each stop with the Reds and kind of moving through your baseball career?
Continue to be professional about your day. Don't matter what you did yesterday. Don't matter what you think you're going to do tomorrow. As long as you get to come to the field and smile, have fun.
Definitely, man. What about your game do you take the most pride in?
It's playing every game like it's my last, because nothing's guaranteed. Everyone's got a timeline, and I don't know when mine is, but if I'm going to leave the field within this day, I want to make sure that I leave the field the way I want to leave the field, and I leave everything out on that.
Among your teammates, like as you kind of look around the locker room and stuff, like when you go through a season, what is the number one thing that you tell everybody, or number one thing that you want to learn from everybody?
Don't take your foot off the gas, man. How are we going to win? What's ways to win? Because baseball is a funny game. No one's master it, and when you go 3 for 10, you're a great baseball player. So it's fun to pick apart the little things in the game and to continue to learn.
All right, Vince, you've been handed a team that is just chock full of talent, a lot of highly ranked prospects here. How do you feel as a manager being entrusted with that group of kind of players to help develop them and move them along?
Yeah, definitely an honor. Definitely an honor. I don't think I've ever managed a team with this number of prospects, and as far as expectations for guys in their career. From that standpoint, I accept it as a good challenge where I feel like the organization trusts my ability to be a leader, and with the staff that we have here, I think we're in a good position to help these guys, along their journey.
I'm sure it's very individualized, the plan from player to player, but collectively, what kind of things can you do as the manager to help them achieve those goals, to help get them onto Chattanooga, onto Louisville, onto the majors?
Yeah, good question. I think one of the most important things is just teaching them all the aspects of what it is and what it takes to be a true professional. Physically, these guys have the ability, that's why they're here, but it's more of the trying to develop the whole part. As far as mind, thought, process, sticking to routines, taking care of their diet and sleep, and those things that we have teenagers, and I know as teenagers we didn't always do things and the way we probably should have, but as pros and guys who are playing professional baseball, as staff members, we have the opportunity to share our experiences and help guide them and allow them to add those parts of things in their life that maybe weren't as important as playing the game. And, we want to make sure that they understand that those are parts of their game that allow them to be their best. And the ultimate thing they need to be ready for is the competition. So if we can help them develop all those outside aspects other than their physical ability, I think we do part of our job in making them understand what it takes to be a big leaguer. And that's always the goal, is to put these guys on the path to get to the big leagues, because that's probably the reason they're still playing.
Now, I know minor league baseball has changed a lot, especially in, say, the last 10 years with the involvement from the Parrot Club, specific plans for specific players, pitchers versus hitters. What's the interaction like with you and your staff, and, say, on the pitching side, Derek Johnson, who coordinates the all of Major League, all of the system for the Reds, and the front office in Cincinnati as you develop these players?
Yeah, so I think, these guys, every guy's got a player plan. And that plan can be viewed from top to bottom, but it provides a guideline for these guys, where they are, the things they need to work on, the things they can continue to do to get themselves closer to that. So I think our goal is to keep that in mind and always look at the player plan. Each guy's got an individual, which makes it nice because it's not just a broad perspective. Each guy's got specific things that the org wants them to work on, and the things that they can do to improve themselves to be in a position to go to Chattanooga or Louisville and hopefully eventually Cincinnati.
Now, I know you're getting underway tomorrow night, first game of the season. What's the expectation following a game, following a week, interactions with the front office? Obviously, they're monitoring what's going on down here. They're monitoring these prospects. What's the communication? What's the back and forth like between your staff and the upper levels?
It's really, hey, what are we doing to stay on course with the plans? What are we doing to get these guys ready to play? Obviously early in the year where, pitchers tend to be on a lower pitch count, doing the things in between their games and their practices to make sure they stay on track. Same thing with hitters. They've got specific things they need to work on, whether it's pitches or pitch types or just even direction, whatever you want to, whatever can help those guys. And that's kind of what we do, is like, we have all spring training to kind of come up with these plans and watch these guys do it. And now it's really just the players' time to shine and put those things into use.
All right, we are with new Dayton Dragons pitching coach Brian Garman. Brian, wanted to talk to you a lot. I mean, first of all, coming back to Dayton, you spent a couple of years with the Dragons a few years back and went to Chattanooga. What is it like kind of moving through the Reds organization? I know that, these last few years especially, there's been a huge emphasis on the development side.
Yeah, I think moving from level to level, or just year to year, it's starting to just be something that I think everybody in our department is just very comfortable with. I think we know exactly what we're going to get in terms of what the expectations are, how we're going to go about our daily routines, what the standards are kind of set. I wouldn't even say in spring training. It's really like this, the new standards, or if there's going to be any kind of adjustment, kind of happens as soon as the season's over. These are the things, we kind of have an after-action report where we sit down and go, okay, this is what we did well, this is where we struggled. So for the rest of the offseason, we're going to shift our focus to, X, Y, or Z. And then spring training, we're going to be expected to be able to execute a plan to make sure that we cross that off our list. So we have a unique ability to give guys kind of a taste of what Cincinnati could be like for them. Just being here, we sell out a lot of games. They pitch in front of solid crowds. It's competitive. The coaching at the big league level, on the pitching side at least, is probably not all that different than what they're going to get here, just because I've been tasked with that, right? Our scouting reports need to look similar. Our verbiage needs to be the same. The approach, I put my own individual spin on it, as we all do, but it's understood in our department that this is how we're going to do things, and so that process, that system, doesn't really change too much. So from top to bottom, from the Dominican Summer League up to the big leagues, it's pretty uniform. So
that's a cool thing, and I know that that's been a bit of a change over the last few seasons, especially once Dick Williams got in and stuff like that. I had heard stories of how it was a little bit different in years past and stuff, so it's great to hear the kind of top-down philosophy. I know that Derek Johnson is the kind of the czar of the pitching development side on the major league, and he kind of passes down everything with that. I'm kind of curious because it's something we've talked about a little bit. How do you guys evaluate workload? Is it more innings? Is it pitches? Do you factor in all of the warm-ups and all that other stuff? Or
use technology.
Technology. That's a good way to do
it. We want to try to take as much guesswork out of it as possible, and so we use tech, and it gives us torque values, arm speeds, arm slots, throw counts. Spits out a one-day workload. So we just use that so that it's one less thing that I have to make a note of.
Sure.
I have enough to do throughout the day, so innings count. Innings limits or whatever, those factor in, sure. But how do we get the most out of those innings? Is we monitor one-day workloads. We monitor, month-long workloads or whatever it may be. So we go through. We have a very, how do I want to say this? We have a very clear process on how that gets done.
Sure.
And we can do it. I'm doing it right now. We have that tech. Guys are wearing it, and at the end of each night, I sit down on the computer and I go over what did each guy do, how much did he throw, what's the rest of his week look like, and then it allows me to map out a suggestion for tomorrow, the following day. I have any number of guys on my kind of contact list for the off season, and they are all mapped out until their arrival to spring training.
I know that Tom had mentioned whenever he introduced you that you've had the opportunity to manage a couple of different guys that are at the major league level right now, and including Joe Boyle over with Oakland, soon to be Vegas. Not really sure how that's all
whatever
working.
That is.
Wherever they end up playing eventually. What kind of things did you take away from those guys, and what was there one in particular that you're like, oh man, this guy, can't wait to see what he does at the major league level, or were they all kind of similar in that regard?
Well, they're all similar in that you're always excited about what their specific skill set will bring, and how, what kind of results that will give them. I was equally excited for Andrew Abbott, who we all expected to go up there and be very good.
Right.
As I was with Connor Phillips or Lyon Richardson or Carson Spires or Joe Boyle or Jake Wong or Eduardo Salad, you just name it. They've all had great opportunities, and they've all unlocked those doors, themselves. And it's fun from my chair to sit back and be able to see Eduardo Salazar in 21. He was good here, but in the grand scheme of things, like he was okay.
Right.
I mean, he had a good year here, sure, but like that's for level, that's for age. You know, you have to take it. There's context matters. If you'd have told somebody after his 22 season that he was going to debut in 23, they would have laughed at you, right? Like, and even in spring training of 23, we had a conversation where we go, you know, maybe, but probably not this year.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden he goes up and he's pretty good. And we sit back and go, all right, like he did it. He proved some of us wrong, or he, you know, he met his potential, and you know, maybe that's him, maybe that's a coaching cue, maybe that's you know, we give him a slightly adjusted plan as to how we think he should go attack hitters, and all of a sudden he just kind of unlocks some things and you just turn him loose.
Yeah.
So it's always exciting to just figure, you know, Joe Boyle is a great example. He's the easiest example because it's like, he throws really hard, his stuff is gross, but does he throw enough strikes, right? And it's like, well, okay, sure, it's a fair concern, but if you just look at the stuff and what he's done, what his track record is, it's like, yeah, you're going to have some walks, but guess what? You're going to have no hits, so it doesn't matter. And, you know, when I watched his games, I mean, I watched his starts in the big leagues, and it's like, yeah, he's going to walk a handful, but so what?
Right.
Because he just doesn't get, it's not like he's getting hammered around the park. So can Joe survive the big leagues with his 20% walk rate or whatever it is? Carson Spires doesn't throw as hard. Has really good stuff, but you know, can Carson go to the big leagues from Double-A and go get big league hitters out and pitch in meaningful innings, which he definitely did, or pitch in meaningful games? And you know, they have different things to overcome. You know, in that, again, Carson doesn't throw 100. Joe doesn't throw a lot of strikes or whatever it is, right? And you sit back and you're just like, I hope they just do the thing that people don't think they can.
Right.
And so they're all very similar in that they all have their own thing that you're hoping that they're able to kind of figure out on that stage.
We're going to keep you up to date all year with the Dayton Dragons on this Dragons Report. And for daily coverage on the Big League Club, make sure you follow the daily episodes of Locked On Reds. Make sure you're subscribed here so that you get all of your Reds information, all your Dragons information, because we are going to keep you locked on Reds every single day.